Yo, what's up guys? Hope you all had a safe 4th of July weekend. And what I wanted to talk about in this video is I actually just completed my 3rd week here at Amazon, and some of you guys might have worked there before. Some of you guys may be considering working at Amazon in the future. And so what I wanted to do is just kind of share my initial thoughts and experience so far working at Amazon corporate and give you guys my own personal experience so far on what it's been like. So just for a little bit of context, I am part of a product organization under the Fire TV team, and it's been really good so far. Amazon is still sort of a hybrid schedule where folks come into the office maybe a couple times a week. A lot of folks continue to work from home, and they get a nice, generous work from home stipend that they can use to purchase equipment, monitors, peripherals, all that kind of stuff to make sure that they have a productive work environment. And so for the first week, I was in the office most of the time just to get badged in and set up. And second week, I actually got to fly to Seattle, where I was able to meet my team, the people that I would work with, the engineers, UX designers, and some business folks as well. And then the 3rd week was also spent in the office, but I also decided to work from home. Before I joined the company, I knew that Amazon had a reputation for being a little bit more cutthroat, not providing the best quality of life for their employees. But at the same time, I joined the company because I wanted to work on some really cool product opportunities. And I feel like it's definitely giving me that. But 3 unique things that I'm realizing about the company so far is, number one, the leadership principles that the company talks about. It starts with customer obsession and it goes down all the way to frugality and a bunch of other tenets. They definitely live up to that. A lot of companies have principles or ideas that they go by, but Amazon is one of the few companies that I've worked at so far where they live and breathe it. Some people who've obviously been with the company a lot longer, maybe when Jeff Bezos was still developing and putting together the leadership principles, they may have a much stronger opinion and belief system than some of the newer employees. But in some of the meetings that I've been in so far and just talking with people, you can see that they live and breathe these things in the work. For example, customer obsession. This is something where all the documentation and all the artifacts that people put together are really focused on putting the customer at the center of things and creating products and services that solves problems for them. I think that's something that's really unique about Amazon, where they live and breathe these principles, and it's something that you can see in every facet of the things that they do. The second thing that I noticed is Amazon's culture here is really focused on the work itself. It's not as cutthroat as you might think. Now, who knows? Your experience may vary. If you're working on a team that's super high demanding and has a lot of expectations, it might be a little bit different, but I can only speak on my initial 3 weeks, and who knows? My experience now might be very different than it is a year from now. A lot of companies, they focus on trying to provide the best employee experience and providing a lot of perks and benefits and a lot of fun events to get together. And it's not to say that Amazon doesn't do that, but Amazon is also a huge company now. And so I think they've definitely had to put in structures and processes in place to make sure that they stay on top of things. One of the things that I was taught on my first day is around this concept of day one, where I think Jeff Bezos came out in his first shareholder letter and said that, hey, one of the things that the company is continuing to do is that they're continuing to focus every day like it was day one. And what that means is that they're trying to operate in that scrappy startup type of mentality where they know that the competition is fierce and it's going to be very difficult to win. And that's sort of the mindset that they've embraced. And so every day you go into work, there's sort of this ethos where people continue to operate like it's day one. And so the culture here is very unique. I don't think there's any other company out there that works the same way that Amazon does, but I'm learning a lot and slowly starting to embrace it. So that's the second thing. And then the third thing, it's somewhat similar, but the way that Amazon works, the way that the company operates and the way that people get things done, it's very different from other companies. When I used to work at Apple, a lot of things were done by slide decks, where you create these really pretty slides using charts and graphs. Of course, you would use iWorks and some of the productivity applications there. And then also at Google, you would use a lot of Google slide decks, a lot of spreadsheets. But a lot of the final deliverable at Amazon is through documentation. They call them PRFAQs, where it's like a document that could potentially go to internal customers, external customers, internal stakeholders. And so really being able to write succinctly, clearly, while also capturing a level of breadth and depth is something that I think is going to take me a little bit of time to adjust. thankfully, I've gone through a little bit of this process already through business school, and actually when I was growing up in high school and college, doc writing was actually one of my favorite things to do. Of course, I enjoyed modeling on Excel and things of that nature, but being able to just write is something that has come a little bit more naturally to me. And so I don't think it's going to be that huge of an adjustment, but it is something, the style and the formatting and the depth of some of these documents are impressive. For example, the way that we run meetings, oftentimes people will share a doc right before the meeting begins or right after the meeting starts, and you'll spend the first 15-20 minutes in silence just reading the document. And these are some massive documents. Sometimes it can be 6-pager program reviews, but some of them could be 20, 30, 40, 50-page WBRs, weekly business reviews, or let's say MBRs or QBRs, monthly or quarterly. And so you spend a lot of time reading documentation, and there's very little slide decks, very little PowerPoints or Google Slides, where people are really taught to kind of think backwards, to really embrace writing and the narrative format, and to communicate in a way where you get your thoughts down on paper and really try to articulate your thoughts and use data to drive your proposals or get people to provide you funding, provide you headcount, or whatever the request might be. And so my first couple of weeks, a lot of my time has been actually spent meeting with people one-on-one and doing coffee chats, but also spending a ton of time in documentation, highlighting things, underlining things, and saving them for follow-up questions with some of my colleagues. And so that's sort of the way that Amazon culture works. The little unique things about the culture is the company doesn't offer free food. There's not a whole lot of perks. You go into the kitchen and there might be some tea and some coffee, but that's pretty much it. And that's also kind of going back to one of its leadership principles, which is frugality and not being wasteful and really using the resources in a good way and being a good steward, and using those things to invest back into its products and services. So it's a different philosophy, but hey, who can knock on it, right? Amazon's been in this position and they're where they are because of Jeff and the leadership that he brought to the table. And so every company's got its own culture, every company's got its own way of doing things, and this is the way that Amazon does it. We'll see it a year or two from now, how I feel about it, but so far I just wanted to kind of share my experience and give you guys a little bit of a sneak peek into the Amazon way of doing things. Hopefully this video was useful. If you guys are planning to interview with Amazon or are planning on joining the company in the future, drop a comment down below or send me a message and we can chop it up. Anyways, guys, have a great day and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.